What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Get a Grip Sports Basketball. Another big day of free agency today, including two big extensions for two superstars. The Hawks make a big move, and JaVale McGee's on the move again. Let's hop right into it with Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell signed a 5-year extension this afternoon, keeping him on the Utah Jazz for what seems like an eternity. He had two 50-plus point games in the playoffs against the Nuggets. Unfortunately, they blew a 3-1 lead, and the Nuggets moved on. Donovan Mitchell is one of the most promising players for the future, and the Jazz made a great move. Next up, we have Jason Tatum signing a 5-year extension. Another one of the most promising players for the future. He is definitely an MVP candidate every year for the next 5 years. Celtics definitely making a great move. Jason Tatum probably also making a great new move, as the Celtics have one of the most young, talented, promising rosters for the future. Next up, we have one of the trades for today. The Detroit Pistons traded Tony Bradley, and the 76ers traded Zaire Smith. Zaire Smith definitely still has huge potential, but he spent some time in the G League, meaning the coaches on the Philadelphia staff are not liking what they're seeing. Obviously, the Pistons are planning for the future. I've never heard of Tony Bradley. Maybe he can be good off the bench for the 76ers. I'd give a better grade to the Pistons here than the 76ers, but overall it was a not huge move. Next up, we have the Indiana Pacers trading former bust TJ Leaf over to the Thunder in exchange for Jalen LeCue. TJ Leaf, huge bust, but still has potential. Obviously, already being labeled a bust is not good. Jalen LeCue, never heard of him. Probably can provide some good value off of the bench. TJ Leaf I still think he's a very valuable player, and I think the Thunder can definitely use him on their roster after losing Chris Paul. Next up, we have Ed Davis being traded to the Wolves in exchange for Omari Spellman and Jacob Evans. This is a great move by the Knicks. Ed Davis was just taking up cap space. Omari Spellman, he's just a bench player that can come in with a couple minutes left and maybe score some valuable points. And Jacob Evans still has huge potential. I'm a huge fan of his future, and I could definitely see him doing great things in a Knicks uniform. Next up, we have the JaVale McGee going to LeBron's former team, the Cavaliers, in exchange for Jordan Bell, who has huge potential, and Alfonso McKinney. JaVale McGee, just another one of those centers on the Lakers roster who's an old veteran who can still be aggressive in the paint. Cavaliers, after losing Tristan Thompson, this is a must-need player. The Lakers are taking Jordan Bell. As I've said before, huge potential. I like where the Lakers' mindset is at. And JaVale McGee, I have mixed feelings on him. Yes, he can be. I think that over in Cleveland, he's going to do great with Colin Sexton and Kevin Love. But he's JaVale McGee. He's not that good. He's highly overrated, and he's not even rated that high. So JaVale McGee, I think his career is winding down. He's going to be gone soon. Still a good move by the Cavaliers. They needed somebody now, and JaVale McGee is a perfect player for that. Next up, we have Austin Rivers. After declining his option with the Rockets, is heading over to the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks earlier this week absolutely they just cut down everybody on the roster. I don't know if they were trying to make room for a big player or if they were just going to sign a bunch of small, really good and valuable players like Austin Rivers. Great move by the Knicks. Austin Rivers is a great shooter. Obviously, the Knicks have a horrible coaching staff, so they need better players. RJ Barrett is still there. He's probably the best player on that roster now. Austin Rivers and RJ Barrett. That is not a duo you want to have leading your team. Knicks are going nowhere. Austin Rivers is a great player. Next up, we have Willie Cauley-Stein going over to the Dallas Mavericks. He is personally one of my favorite players in the entire NBA. I really enjoyed him. One time I saw him in a Kings uniform playing against the Warriors. He played great that night and became one of my favorites. So he is a very underrated center. Of course, this is probably my bias coming out, but Cauley-Stein is a very valuable player. After Kristaps moving over to forward, Cauley-Stein will probably be starting at the center position. And I think that the Dallas Mavericks are another very promising team for the future. Next up, we have Marc Gasol signing a 2-year contract with the Lakers. After losing JaVale McGee, or actually trading away JaVale McGee, and Dwight Howard leaving for the Sixers, they needed somebody to be in the paint, and Marc Gasol is exactly the person that they needed. Great move by the Lakers. Of course, he's old, just like LeBron, so this is going to be a fading roster. They're going to be needing some young talent. Of course, they traded away like all of their young talent except for Kyle Kuzma for Anthony Davis, and he might be gone this year. But they won a title, so it's all worth it. Next up, we have Aaron Baines signing a 2-year contract with the Toronto Raptors to replace Marc Gasol. Great move. Aaron Baines is a very underrated center. Great addition to the Raptors roster, and these Raptors are definitely a contender in the East this year. Next up, we have Bogdan Bogdanovic signing a kind of a promise to go to the Atlanta Hawks. If the Kings match the offer, then he's going to be stuck with the Kings. I mean, I criticized on yesterday's episode the Atlanta Hawks, how they had so much cap space and they didn't sign anybody except for Gallinari and Rondo. Bogdanovic makes all the difference. If they can get him, then I think that the Atlanta Hawks had a successful offseason. As always, guys, thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.